Hello, everyone. Welcome to Around Town TV. At the top of the hour, Kerry Jones from Indigo Tones, who's an official sponsor to the United States National Pageants, is going to be joining me and sharing a little bit more about color analysis, why it's so important and actually can make the difference while someone is competing both on stage or an interview. And this goes for more than just pageantry. She does a lot with business people, speakers, just every different field. So I'm looking forward to having her on the show. But first, I am going to share to all of our pages so all of our viewers can tune in. So I will be with you in just a moment. Let's see, there I am. Okay. Sharing. Okay. Okay, just a couple more here. Okay. One more. Hello, Della Reese. Hello, Carly. Hello, Mrs. Florida. Okay. All right. So we'll start at the top of the hour, and I'll be shortly having a special guest join me. So it'll take just a moment. That's why we're starting a little early, just so we can get everything all set up here for all of you. Nationals is coming up. I leave in 3 days. This time in 3 days, I will be in Las Vegas at the United States National Pageants and looking forward to meeting all of the delegates, state directors, vendors, sponsors. There's so many wonderful people, the sisterhood. Really, really excited to meet everybody in person versus Facebook Live or some of the live shows we've been doing. And as soon as Kerry is able to join me here, oops, I'm going to see if she's viewing, then I will add her. Kerry, if you are watching this, you'll need to click on this from the Around Town page, Around Town TV show, Around Town media page, and then I can invite you. You'll have to go to that bit there. Yeah, you have to go to the page, Kerry, and open the video. I might be able to do it now that yeah, you'll have to open the video, Kerry, and then I can invite you. On the Around Town page. You can't be on any other pages, the United States page. Has to be the Around Town TV show and Around Town media page. We'll get it. That's why we do this. We're still ahead of the game. Video is open. Okay. And down at the bottom, Kerry, is there a green button for you to request to be a part of the broadcast? There should be. There should be like a green button. There you go. Yay!
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
I made
You
it.
did. I know you're so busy, so thank you for taking time. For those of you just tuning in, my name is Carla Beaurline from Around Town TV, and I also am doing this for the United States National Pageants, and I'm lucky enough to have one of our official sponsors, Kerry Jones from Indigo Tones. We're going to talk color analysis. Thank you, Kerry, again. I know, again, how busy you are, so we're grateful to have you.
No one's busier than you, Carla.
No, I think you I probably would be your first runner up right now. Before we get into the whole color analysis, because so many people that are going to tune in are going to think like I initially did, you know, the old school of colors, warms, are my warm spring, summer, fall, and there's so much more. Maybe share a little bit about your background and your history to explain a little bit more with our viewers of what you act, you know, a little bit more of your background that led you to where you are.
Sure. Well, I spent about 15 years in the corporate environment as a human resources professional. And I did a ton of interviewing and hiring, and I was seeing lots and lots of different people every single day and making a lot of decisions about them in a very short period of time. And what I recognized during that time was that I would remember people based on what they were wearing, of course. And some people were not memorable at all because they wore no color. And some people were memorable in a positive way because they had something on that was colorful and really accentuated their look. And other people, I might have felt a little bit intimidated or shocked or whatever by what they were wearing. And I became very interested in all of that. And I realized that there was color analysis, personal color analysis, and that back then at the time, the science that had been the origins of personal color analysis from way back around the turn of the century was coming back around again, and there was more information available about it. And so I think some people are aware of back in the 80s when they did Color Me Beautiful, Color Me a Season.
Yeah.
I do something similar to that, but it's much, much, much more scientific. It's much more involved. And I'd always been interested in color and the arts. I studied art history in college as a minor, and you know, starting the business kind of blended both interests.
Right.
You know, a business, something that had everything to do with helping people, but also was very scientific and creative at the same time.
Well, and one of the things that I was just double checking to make sure everything's good here technically, and we are, but one of the things that a lot of the contestants don't realize is they might pick a gown that's hipper in, and we all know that fit and how becoming it is on you, or a suit in an interview. But what a lot of people don't realize is they might pick a color like purple or pink, and it really isn't their best color when you, especially if they're lined up on stage or they're being compared. And even though a judge will say, or a state director or a national director say, well, you're not being compared against each other, you're only competing against yourself. How can you not visually, when you see all these women in gowns, if someone's wearing that perfect color or comes in a suit and it's just that awesome color, that's going to impact me as a judge. It does.
Absolutely. So color travels to our ears, or to our eyes, the same way music travels to our ears. And when we are in color harmony, it feels the same way. Great music sounds to us. It's very pleasing. The people they don't even know why they like the experience. They just know they like the experience. And I love all colors, but we perceive color based on what's put next to it. So if you have a beautiful pink, but you put it's a very pale champagne pink, and you put it next to someone who has a very vibrant, contrasting look, the pink is going to look muddy and the person's going to look washed out. Where if you take a bright, vibrant pink and you put that next to a bright, vibrant person, both the color and the person look amazing. And that is a much, much, much more pleasing experience to anyone that's interacting with the person.
You know, I think that most of us know at least one or two colors that we do look good in, but I don't think people realize how many colors they actually can wear because we limit ourselves. And everyone has pinks, everyone has greens, everyone has purples. The only color that really doesn't translate to just about every seasonal palette, or there isn't a version for everyone,
Right.
is probably orange.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just not a forgiving color. And luckily, you don't see a ton of orange in the pageant industry, right?
Right.
So, you know, there are colors that are more forgiving, but really there are specific colors that work perfectly with each and every one of our skin tones.
What
Yeah.
is because you call it color analysis, for those tuning in, what is color analysis?
Well, personal color analysis is the scientific way of determining which of those colors, there's hundreds of thousands of colors in the visible spectrum, which of those colors are the appropriate colors for that person's skin, hair, and eyes. And the thing that's very important to remember is that we are all born in perfect harmony. Our natural hair color, our eye color, and our skin color are all perfectly balanced. And there are other colors out there in the world, in the natural world, that are harmonious with us. And nature never gets it wrong. You know, if you look at nature, nature never gets it wrong. And the way that one of the color theories that I use in determining someone's colors is to go back to the seasons of the year and look at the seasons of the year and find where we fall into those. For example, we all know that the greens and the reds and the yellows and the purples that we see in October here in, you know, the northeast part of the United States
Right.
is very different from the reds and the greens and the purples and the blues that we might see on a spring day.
Right.
And we all fall into one of those seasonal harmonies.
Interesting. Tell me a little bit about your experience. I know we talked about your experience and what led you to where we are, but just your experience with color analysis, because I know you have a ton of experience.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm just going to share this. If you
Yes.
can give me 1 second, I want to share it to my page.
Awesome. Awesome. Please do. And in the meantime, hello to Catherine. Hello, Colleen. Thank you for all of you who are tuning in. If you are, my name is Carla Beaurline from Around Town TV. I am also do a lot of the on-air hosting and work for the United States National Pageants. And this month I have been interviewing the queens and sponsors. And right now we have the official sponsor, Kerry Jones from Indigo Tones. And one of the things I loved when one of my first conversations with Kerry was, you know, I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to get, you know, how many of us have heard someone say, yeah, I'm an image consultant or I'm a color specialist? And they really aren't. and there's some people who, you know, have more experience than others. And in fact, I can tell you something back after my pageant years, I wanted to be an image consultant. Then I realized very quickly those weren't my skills. They're best left to an expert. And so it was so refreshing when we connected, because I was like, oh, she's not only a real one, like I get it. Well, I should know. Tony only brings the best into his team, but
Yeah, well, he's amazing. Yes. Well, you know, I think I've encountered a lot of really, really creative and talented people who love color, or they love fashion, or they love clothes, or they just love some aspect of the business. But to be, you know, to be an actual color and image consultant, I think for me, I came at it not from the place of being super interested in fashion. In fact, not at all.
Yeah.
I came at it from the place of wanting to help people during sort of the interviewing process and getting a job that was appropriate for them. And I really wanted people to understand how to be who they really were, their authentic selves. And I hate looking at closets full of clothes that nobody wears and the things that are going into landfills and all of that. I mean, so there's a part of me that is really sort of into simplifying. And nothing else that I've ever encountered in my life has simplified my life and those of my clients and friends more than this. Because once you know what works for you, you just aren't even tempted by something that isn't.
Right.
Because you feel it, you see it, and then the other huge advantage to this is that every single solitary thing that I have in my closet right now is not only my style, but it's also my color.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything goes together. And that was something that was very, very attractive to me. I just didn't want to have everybody I know have all these clothes that just weren't working with anything else, or the idea that they had to go buy an outfit one at a time. And so, you know, for me, it was very, very much about a lot of the non-fashion pieces of it. And where the only time I really get into fashion, because I don't believe in a lot of trends, because this is trend proof.
Mm-hmm.
Once you know who you are
Mm-hmm.
and what your style is and who you are via style, colors, and your shape, you don't really have to worry about trends so much. You can add some contemporary things into your wardrobe, but you don't have to be coming and going with things unless it's part of your style.
I love that.
And so that was something that I also felt translated very well to the workplace. We wanted to hire people. We wanted to know who they were in an interviewing situation. When you're in a pageant situation, you want to know who someone really is.
Right.
And when they feel confident enough by what they're wearing, they don't have to be, they can be so confident that they are talking from, you know, they're just naturally exuding who they really are,
Mm-hmm.
which makes the whole experience better.
For everybody.
We want,
you know.
yeah, for everybody. We want everybody to feel confident, to feel like they know who they are. And we want the whole thing to resonate that way. And it translates to, you know, people doing an interview, people in a pageant, but it translates to, you know, right now my children both have jobs. One is fundraising for a major educational institution and meeting with, you know, high-end donors. And the other one is working in, you know, major league sports and interfacing with that. Both of my kids have been wearing their colors since they were little.
Of course they have.
But they don't have to worry about,
Right.
you know, they don't have to worry about, you know, does this look good on me,
Mm-hmm.
or is this right for me? Because they have all that taken care of. And when they get up in the morning and they're stressed about what they have to do that day, they're not worried about what they're wearing, because it's all taken care
and
of.
so many, I'm guilty of, you know, I used to buy things if they were on sale. So back even gals, I can't even believe I'm going to admit this because it was over 30 years ago. There was, I forgot the name of it because I know it's out of business, but it was like a Saks or a Neiman Marcus. And I found a suit there for $20 and it was white, and you're going to laugh, and orange. And I thought with a tan and with the right, guess how many times I wore it? 0.
Right.
And, you know, thank God it was $20. There was a reason, but that $20 I could have invested into the one with the right color for me, like maybe this royal blue, or, you know, something much better than that. And
Yeah. Right. And I find that, you know, I don't hesitate to spend a lot of money on a piece that I know I'm going to wear over and over again.
Yes.
And I also find incredible pieces at everything from Goodwill to consignment shops for nothing.
Right.
So my wardrobe is full of a variety of different things. But when I see something that's a home run, that's my color, that's my style, that fits me really well and is comfortable, I will spend a lot of money on it, which for me is probably not that much money to somebody else, but I'll spend a lot of money for me.
Right.
Knowing that it's going to have so much value to me. And the other thing I'm realizing, even this past week, I added a couple pieces to my wardrobe, my closet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, I hadn't worn those pants, and now I've got even more outfits. So it's like any kind of a collection.
Mm-hmm.
The more, and I can put together thousands of outfits with very, very few pieces of clothes, because again, everything goes with everything else.
Interesting. So ladies, not only, so it doesn't matter whether you're competing or your mother watching this that works, or any type of field, how can understanding one's colors help the delegates competing specifically, but also everybody else?
Well, like I said before, when you know that the color that you're wearing is amazing for you,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to walk on stage with confidence, so you can speak clearly, and your confidence level is going to go through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
It simplifies the process incredibly of finding the right outfit to wear. You just eliminate things that you know don't work for you.
Right.
And certainly, I know you and I talked about packing for this trip to Vegas. Right. When you're packing, you know, everything again, you might only need 1 or 2 pairs of shoes, mm-hmm. versus 10 or 15.
Right.
And you become very, very, very savvy at this very, very quickly, and you instantly know when something is right for you or it's not. And uh, you can also make sure that you're not swayed by something that a designer might tell you or a salesperson might tell you. You know inherently what works for you and what doesn't. And I guarantee every one of your delegates has probably something in their closet that they know they love and they know looks great on them. And that's wonderful. But what I help people do is find a whole range of stuff that they might not have ever even considered. And that's where it becomes even more fun too.
Well, and we have our official stylist for the United States National Pageants, Erica, who's also watching, and she just made a great statement. Cost per wear is important when it comes to price. And you allow that because between Erica as a stylist and you with colors, you create thousands of opportunities and different outfits in showing us what's the best color, the style, and fit. So what a combination to have. And ladies, these are gifts to you as our national queens have this, but you also have the opportunity to sit down and meet with Kerry while you're out there. If this is something you're like, I have to do this, but what if I don't win? She is taking appointments at the national pageant. And for those who are, we'll also do this at the end, but for those who are interested in reaching out to you, Kerry, while you're at the national pageant, how should they do that?
Well, I have a website, indigotones.com. It's very simple. It's in the process of being updated, but for right now, they are, you could just go on there and you can pop me an email. Email is the best way to do it because when I'm with clients, I don't answer the phone. And you can just say you're interested in scheduling something with me. I think I gave you my hours that I'm going to be there. I will be, every one of the queens that gets crowned will be getting, a color analysis. And then on the rest of the times during the day, I will be doing group color analysis. Let's say you have a group of 2, 3, 4, 5 people that want to do it together. We would schedule that.
Perfect.
And I'll be there in the afternoons, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of next week.
Okay, so if you are part of the Little Miss preteen, junior teen, you may miss Kerry unless you're staying throughout the week, but she is available even though she's in New York. Because I told her when we were going to do this for Around Town is I have a lot of my Midwest people that follow this, but she does a lot with that. You can do videos like we're doing now, but also in person, and you do travel throughout the country as well, correct?
I do travel. I never do a color analysis except when I'm meeting with someone in person. It's impossible to do it
correctly,
with monitors and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I have people fly to my studio, which is in Rochester, New York. I'm not near New York City. I'm about 6 hours away from New York City. I'm closer to Canada. But I have people fly to me all the time, and I travel. I mean, I travel very, very regularly because what I do is pretty unique, and my services are not available, in a lot of other places. But I would come, I would absolutely, and I plan to get to some of the state pageants as well over the course of the next year.
Wonderful.
So all of those things are possibilities, but absolutely, I'm going to be set up with all my color analysis materials at the pageant. The 1st through the 4th of August.
Okay.
So there's still quite a few slots open if anyone's interested. And I think you posted, you have the information about the costs and everything that I gave you. So
right.
We'll be doing that too.
Yep. And I haven't posted that, but I know they can find that out on your website as well, correct? Or no? Okay.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a different situation because I'm offering some different things when I'm at the pageant than what's on my website.
Thank you.
But yeah.
Do you find that the average person knows what looks best on them and knows their colors?
So I get asked that question just about every day. And what I have to say is that some people do, but many people don't. And I use this example in my studio often that I think it's very, very similar to GPS. Some of my smartest, most, intelligent friends have a difficult time navigating around their hometown without GPS. And it has nothing to do with their intelligence.
Right.
And I find that some people really do have a good sense of the colors that look good in them. And some people just don't. And other times, I have a lot of creative, very artistic friends who love all colors so much that they can't differentiate. And so it really
Ah,
depends on the person.
right.
And again, like I said earlier, I think every one of us knows at least one or two colors that look good on them.
Mm-hmm.
But we just don't realize that there's a lot more than that.
Right.
And then I hear this all the time. Oh, I look good in blue. Blue's my color.
Yeah.
Well, that's blue in general terms is irrelevant to me
Right.
because I have probably 20 different blues that I can wear in my seasonal tone harmony.
Mm-hmm.
And you have, if we're not the same, then you have additional 20 different blues. So it's just which blues
Right.
are right. And so, and the fine lines, I mean, if you know, I'll have my materials with me when we're out there, but you'll
Wonderful.
see the fine lines between what's magical
Mm-hmm.
and what's okay and what's dreadful.
Interesting.
So, you know, how many of us really want to be so-so, especially in a pageant environment?
Right.
We don't want to be so-so. We want that blue that is our magic blue.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And here's an example, ladies, of what well, and I shouldn't just say ladies, because I know there's a lot of gentlemen that are online too. But here's an example of an experience that I had. So back 30 years ago when I competed, I went and had a custom gown made. And back then it was $5,200. I trust me, that was grocery money. That was anything and everything that I used and did payments to have this gown. I picked pink. I wanted pink. Pink was my favorite color. And I didn't even think of, is that really good for me? And in some pictures, it was kind of a bubbly pink where it looked gorgeous. On stage, it washed out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, that's a whole nother aspect to
Yes.
that.
Yep.
And
I didn't look
you know,
the best in it.
yeah. Yeah. And I think that, you know, what happens is, again, when you're making the color look good, the whole experience, you know, when we're in harmony with a color, what happens
Mm-hmm.
is we present as a unified whole. And if we aren't in harmony with the color, it's like our head is one entity and our body and our, you know, is another. And that is not a good experience for the person looking at you. And so, you know, the science behind what I do, I identify three things. I identify whether someone needs darker colors or lighter colors,
Mm-hmm.
whether they need brighter colors or softer colors, and whether they need, you know, something that has a little more yellow in it or a little more blue in it. And then once we determine that exact perfect thing, the clients will see very, very clearly the colors that wash them out
Mm-hmm.
or the colors that overwhelm them, because we don't want to overwhelm ourselves with color either.
Right.
If the color is stealing all the attention away from you, you look weak,
Right.
you don't look strong, and sometimes you don't look smart because the color is so, you know, and then if you're wearing a color that washes you out, you also look weak and you just don't, you know, and if people will make subconscious judgments about your ability to know yourself that way.
Interesting.
You know, it's, you know, so it's really important to kind of make sure that you're in harmony with the colors you're wearing, for sure.
Well, and we have a lot of people online. So for those who have tuned in maybe a little more recently, my name is Carla Beaurline from Around Town TV. I also handle a lot of the social media marketing and the on-air work for the United States National Pageants. I'm going to be seeing all of you that are part of that in just a few days. But, and in fact, for those who think, oh yeah, Miss America or Miss USA, and you get it all confused, if I always bring up Miss Congeniality, everyone usually has either seen the movie or is familiar with that. And actually, guess who's watching right now? The producer of Miss Congeniality that helped.
Woo!
Yes, and we are very lucky. And he actually is helping work on some various projects, including the television debut for the United States National Pageant. So hi to Scott Grossman. Thank you for tuning in. I had the chance to meet him when he was a judge for the Minnesota State program, and what an incredible man with a great background and experience. So I'm sure this is speaking to him and a lot of the things he's done as well for sets on stage. And so what else have we not covered that maybe we should be sharing with the viewers on color analysis?
Well, I guess, you know, people oftentimes want to know a little bit about the process.
Yes.
And I don't think we've talked about that. So a typical consultation, if usually what I prefer,
Mm-hmm.
I love it when two people come together because you get to see it on each other. And oftentimes we're a lot more objective when we're seeing the colors on someone else. So a typical analysis in my studio would be, you know, a couple people. And what I do is I explain the science behind what I'm going to do, and I explain what I'm going to be looking for. And what I'm looking for when I put colors around the client's face is I want to see what happens to their face and their eyes with the color. What should happen when the color is in harmony is the, you know, fine lines, wrinkles, scars, blemishes, dark circles, any of that stuff will diminish profoundly.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that should pop out at us are the person's eyes. And we all know that the eyes are so significantly important. When your eyes are popping out and your skin is clear and everything is like that, that's where the harmony comes in. Now, with someone who has color in their hair, I will take the hair out of it for the testing part of the analysis. And then at the end of the analysis, we talk about hair color and how to get it into harmony if it's not in harmony. And sometimes it is in harmony and sometimes it's not.
Okay.
And then the actual draping process where I figure out exactly which colors are the best for someone probably only takes about 15-20 minutes per person.
Oh.
And they're getting to see a lot of comparing and contrasting, and I'm explaining the science behind it, and I'm explaining what I'm looking for, and we're narrowing things down, and we get to a final result.
Wow.
And then the bulk of what I do, which I don't really know anybody else who does a little bit of color analysis who does, you know, what I do, is I spend another hour or so just talking about, now that these are your colors, how are you going to wear them?
Right.
How are you going to mix and match all the fabrics and patterns and textures and what to do with your hair color. And then of course we talk about cosmetics, because if you're going to put clothes on that are the right color and your hair is the right color, you certainly want to have the cosmetics that are the right color. And people are astounded by how little makeup they need. What I don't do is I don't do a makeover, because I want people to see at the end of the analysis that in a normal environment, not a stage environment, but in a normal environment, you don't really need a lot of makeup, because the colors are doing all the work of what we're normally doing when we're counterbalancing the wrong hair color or counterbalancing a pair of, you know, an outfit that doesn't work. So they get to see, and I actually ask everybody to always bring their own cosmetics so we can sift through them and find out which ones are the right ones and which ones may or may not work.
Wow.
And so a typical analysis with a couple of people in my studio is about 2 to 2.5 hours.
Wow.
And I can tailor that a little bit based on their needs, but we talk about their style. We incorporate style and color style together. So they walk away with some really, really great strategies for how to do this. And then the one thing hold on
Sure.
1 second. I just want to grab something.
Absolutely. And for those watching, she's going to come back, but Tony himself actually, and he said I could share this, Tony Alakwa is the president. He's the son of Isabella and the president of the United States National Pageants, and he had his colors done by Kerry, and he was so impressed. He actually listened, Kerry, and not that he doesn't, but you coached him, he listened, he did it, and I'm so impressed because Tony is a guy's guy. So, and he's a
guy's guy, and he looks amazing.
He
in those
does.
Colors.
He does in his colors, and he was so thrilled. So when I first met him, I think he had just had them done by you, and I'm sitting here and I'm hearing about, his race car driving, all this. Oh, and then he had his colors done, and I'm like trying to figure out, and then once I met you, obviously it made sense, but that goes to show you. It did so much for him. And he gave me some even fun stories about, he was on an airplane and, a couple flight attendants even, when someone feels good and looks good, that exudes a lot of different things. So that's just another kudos to you and your expertise, because he thinks the world of you.
Thank you so much. What Tony experienced though is literally, if you pop on my website, there's a ton of testimonials on there that people just send me randomly, and then I share them. But it really is astounding how people will get their colors done, and then a couple of days later they'll go into work, or the next day even, and they'll do what we talked about, and people are going, what's going on? You look amazing in those colors. Or perfect strangers, like flight attendants on a flight, will do it.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful when that happens, because then you really know this works. And trust me, it really works.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes the whole thing so much more fun and so much more entertaining. And oftentimes people will say things to me, they don't even know why they're drawn to the whole thing. They just know that it feels right.
They feel
and it looks
awesome
right.
and confidence. Their self-confidence increases, which you're going to perform and project better. And ladies, for those competing, personality projection, that comes out in your eyes, your sparkle. And because you were even talking about how you start with the eyes and you want them to pop. And then if you're seeing the shine and the real true joy coming out while you're on stage, that stands out. That's the difference of that something special about a person versus sometimes, somebody else is still trying to find their way through pageantry or any competition.
Exactly. So I wanted to share with you, and I
Yes.
just grabbed one of my,
Thank you.
This is the Bright Spring swatch book. Now, I actually I created these swatch books, and I manufacture them right here in Rochester, New York. But this is what someone will walk away with.
Wow.
And my screen is a little bit limited, but you can see that there's all kinds of colors on this. There's greens and yellows, and
that's fantastic.
There's neutrals. So everyone has neutrals.
Well, and I never thought, look, I even have neutral on, and I never thought I could wear it. Maybe I shouldn't, but you can tell me.
No, we all have neutrals. Yeah. But for some people, their neutrals are gray. For some people, their neutrals are whites or blacks. Mm-hmm. There's all different types of neutrals that you build your wardrobe around. And we all have yellows and greens. And the swatch book also includes metallics. And I know there's a lot of metallics that are used in the pageant industry too. So there's a full range of things, and this swatch book is absolutely invaluable when you're shopping. I use it for makeup. I use it for nail polish. We use it when we would go to the hairdresser, because the hair colors are right in here as well. Wow. I have designers that purchase my whole set of swatch books that they use for their interior design, for color harmony there, and other artists.
Fantastic.
So, this is part of the color analysis. The color analysis includes, the consultation, the color swatch book, which is valued at $95. Mm-hmm. The hair consultation, the cosmetic consultation, the clothing style personality consultation. So it's very, very, very comprehensive. Right. The person will walk away knowing a lot about where to go forward and how to shop.
How to execute
They don't even really need how to execute it. They don't even really need a lot of hand holding as soon as they've had that experience. And it's done with a lot of visuals, and I try to make it really fun too, because it's really fun and it's a one-time thing. You only have to do it one time in your life. So I want it to be really enjoyable when they're having it done.
And it is so important. And, what a great investment one time, that you really only need to do this one time. And how many people will cover the hair, the makeup, the cosmetics, the nail polish, and a lot of the other things that make us from head to toe, put us together, instead of just sending them away and going, well, you're a spring or you're a winter. Bye. That's what happened 30 years ago when I had mine done, and I couldn't even tell you. Yeah.
Right. What they would do is you'd go to a party and they'd have, wine and tea and stuff like that. And somebody like me would look at people and say, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this, without any real science behind it. And Carla, I could turn my hair your color, and then somebody would be telling me what my colors were based on a hair color that wasn't even my natural color. And so that's where, things got really, really crazy, is that there, or I could walk in with makeup that isn't the right makeup, and somebody's making judgments based on that. And they weren't really looking at the full range of colors that I look at, and the true science behind it, because this is based on the science of a scientist named Albert Munsell. He had a color theory that identified all these ranges of colors, and I pay homage right to Albert Munsell's color theory. Wow. I attended the Munsell Color Symposium in Boston last spring. And, there's a lot of color science out there. Who knew, right? But this is a science. It really is a science.
It is a science. And I actually wrote that in the promotion of the post. And, but it's not a boring science, it's a fun science. One question I have is, so people, you've just said you really only need to do this once, but so I was born a toad head, but most of my life kind of a dishwater blonde naturally, but I've always kept it pretty close to this color. In the past like 16 weeks, I was with my parents in and out of the hospital and being really busy getting ready for nationals. I missed I had a hair appointment that I had to reschedule, and with them in the hospital. Long story short, I thought, oh, I'm going to have all these like dark roots. I didn't, because guess what? I'm gray. So how would that affect if my real color under my hair is more grayish, especially up here? Will that change my colors or tone or?
So most of us our hair does modify and change a little bit as we age,
Right.
from childhood through teens through 20s, 30s, and certainly as we start the graying process.
Right.
I don't have the data past 15 years,
Okay.
but what I am seeing, what's becoming very, very clear to me is that people do not change their color season.
Interesting.
That as we age, we change maybe the way that we might use the colors within, but we go from one variation in the season to the other. For example, I was a towhead when I was little, and now my natural hair color is probably more like the deeper tones up here. If I didn't go out in the sun, or if I didn't have any color in it whatsoever, it would be completely white. My gray and your gray would probably be very different, but my gray would go with the grays and the whites that are on my swatch book. And so those would be my perfect grays.
Yep.
I find that this is another question that kind of goes along with the same topic. This is a question I get asked over and over and over again about a tan.
Oh, right.
And I find that when I have natural tan, natural color on my face, I'm more likely to wear certain colors on my palette than I would be if I was, after a very, very long winter up here in Rochester, New York, which you can relate to in Minnesota. I mean, after a long winter, I'm very unlikely to wear like a pale yellow.
Right.
But right now, in the middle of July here, I love wearing my pale yellows and actually really, really have fun with it. And I find that that's the case too as people get more gray. They may wind up wearing a little bit of a different combination of colors within their swatch book. And that's part of I spend a lot of time in the analysis talking about hair color, and I spend a lot of time talking about the transitioning from one to the other.
Wonderful.
And oftentimes I will have somebody who has quite dark hair now as an adult, but was a towhead as a child. And there's certain palettes where that is the case, and there's others where it absolutely would never happen. So all of that has become data that just all makes more sense now, now that I can speak to it. Yeah.
That is so wonderful. And as you've stated, very scientific. What else? What haven't we covered? I know you've got so much.
Okay. So I guess, I don't know. Are there any other questions popping up? I've talked about the
and we
analysis.
can go back on the post too, but most people are just like, this is awesome, or hello, or they're letting us know they're watching, hello, by the way, to Donna and John. We've had, what's been awesome? We've had a lot of men online tonight watching.
Yay!
And they've stayed on.
And
Yeah,
and I think what happens, this is great because this is what happens with some of my male clients. I have lots of male clients, and male clients, there's absolutely no reason why a female should have their colors done more than a male.
Right.
Men have, they have jobs, they date, they do everything that, that should require knowing their colors. But the interesting thing is, for example, I have a brother-in-law that lives right there in St. Paul, Minnesota. And he came into town not too long ago, and now it was a long time ago. And he said, he's a scientist, he's a nuclear scientist. And he said, you can do my colors, but I don't want to know anything about the seasons and all of that stuff. And I said, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it my way because, I'm a professional, and you're going to want to know all this background stuff. Trust me.
Especially being a scientist.
Fast forward about.
Yeah.
Yes. So fast forward about 3 hours. He's got his swatch book. I have pictures of him in the store with the swatch book, sitting on the edge of his seat with, all the information about it. And I have all kinds of other men who, run a company, and they have had every single person in their, in their administrative staff get their colors done. I've got all kinds of different stories about, you know, if a man comes in kind of reluctantly because his wife dragged him, or his, you know, his somebody in his office said he should do it or whatever, they can wind up being so into it, to the point where it you know, it's just really, really fun. And I found that, you know, as I said before, my kids are in their mid-20s, and what I find is that their friends in that age category, there's an even amount of interest between the girls and the guys. I mean,
That's awesome.
they just all, the guys are totally into it. And also, the interesting thing about that age category is that they don't have the decades and decades of stuff that you and I have had put on us as we've moved through this, you know, the universe, all these things that, you know, everybody should do this, or everybody should do that, or this is what's in style, or, you know, there's a lot of things that are out there that I just really don't disagree with. And it's what's really refreshing is when the younger people come in, they really are more in tune with who they are, because they haven't gotten all that stuff yet, and they just can really be more who they are. And so I love the idea of, you know, reaching people at an earlier age. And I do have a lot of teenagers whose parents come and bring them as a rite of passage. You know, it's part of growing up, or it's part of a graduation process, or something like that. It's a really wonderful rite of passage, and a way to enter into the world,
right?
You know, feeling strong and confident.
Hello to Mrs. Ohio, and our stylist, our official stylist for the United States Pageants, Erica, is online, and she just wrote, men having their colors done is great. It'll give them a base when it comes to shopping. They always seem confused. And so she's supporting that because it helps her in her role when she's helping people find the best clothing and styles for them as well, which obviously both go hand in hand, which I think is incredible.
And that's, you know, and that's what, you know, working with someone like Erica is fabulous, because what happens is, you know, the client comes to me, they're armed with all this information, and then Erica has another tool to help them to really, really narrow it down. And it's a, you know, it's a seamless transition. And then, you know, the other thing is that when people are out there wearing their colors in their styles, it just spreads so much, you know, more enthusiasm and joy, and people are more interested in buying clothes, and people are more interested in their clothing and their closets, and they're not overwhelmed. They're more likely to seek out a stylist like Erica. They're more likely to go into a store and spend more money on the right things, and the stores look good, the brands look good, you know, the you know, your contestants and delegates, you know, look great, and everybody just feels better, you know.
Well,
so,
and ladies, if there are people online that have a history of pageantry like I do of 41 years, when I was first involved and through my competitive days, the coaching came more from a standpoint of thinking about colors that people like, and they would put women, and they'd say you have to have white to win, because what judge hates the color white? Well, okay, good point. However, not everyone looks their best in white, and even with the right makeup and coloring done. And then as time evolved, we'd see this woman wearing purple or green or some really, but it wasn't because it was a purple gown. It was because it was the beautiful color on that person that made her stand out above the rest. And same with a green or whatever. And they used to say, oh, okay, don't wear green. 1 in 10 men hates green. Well, I've seen some national winners in green because it was the best color for them and the right tone or shade of that color for them. So it's just, you know, again, how important that is, and how wonderful, because time has evolved and people are wearing colors, and you very rarely, yes, you'll see the white gowns too, but I've noticed more and more of the national contenders are wearing the colors that are right for them.
Well, you know, Tony and I have talked a lot about, you know, what he wants for the pageant, and what, you know, I'm pretty picky, you know, and I was like, I will not tell somebody something that they want to hear.
Thank you.
I'm going to, you know, I won't do that.
Yeah.
And what was really wonderful, what he reassured me, is that he wants everyone there to feel confident and comfortable in being who they are, that this is about that. And so that's why I feel so very, very well aligned with this pageant. Yeah. And I can't wait to meet everybody. You know, I just can't wait to see everybody and meet everybody, because this is what it's all about. And that's, you know, that's where we all can shine, and not trying to be like everybody else. Everybody else, somebody else is already taken, and it's our own uniqueness. And when you really understand your style and your color and your shape, you can look your best, even if you don't look anything like, and you don't want to look like the next person, and you don't want to look like the person that won last year, and you don't want to look like that.
Right.
Because you know, we all want to be who we really are.
Thank you for saying that, because there are some coaches out there where I can go sit in the audience, or if I'm emceeing and then backstage I'll see people and I'll be like, oh, they coach with so-and-so, they coach with so-and-so. You should never be able to tell what coach they coach with, and that's only because they tell the same girls to do the exact same things or to walk the same way. And everyone is unique in their personality. Sophia Pfiffner, who is competing, wrote, wow, that's awesome. I love that you tell it like it is and want each woman to shine. And Sophia, I think you're seeing that with each of our team members, sponsors, even our state directors that are in our delegates group, that is exactly what we all want for our delegates. It's not about just the national crown. It's about feeling confident, developing their unique individual selves, their unique service propositions when they're speaking, and to be able to achieve their goals and dreams, because only 8 people are going to walk away with those national titles and those crowns. So it's important that we help develop each individual, and what better way to do it than to have someone like you, Kerry, on the team as the official color.
Well, thank you.
And
thank
Tony
you.
just tuned in. Hello, Tony. We were talking about you and your experience, and always appreciate you tuning in. We've had a lot, like I said, a lot of the men have tuned in tonight and have been supportive of this as well. Anything else before we close out? Did we cover everything that you were hoping to?
I feel like we did. I feel like we covered that and more.
Good.
And, you know, I'm really, like I said, I'm just so excited to meet people and to, you know, see more about how the pageant goes, and to see all the different kinds of things that you and Tony and the rest of the team have put into place for this year, because I know it's a really exciting year, and I know you guys have been working so hard to make this a really special event. So can't wait to get there.
Yes, but it takes a village, and that includes our state directors, our delegates, our sponsors, our vendors, and our suppliers. So we're grateful for them as well. Again, for those who are wanting to reach out to you for the national pageant to book an appointment, how do they do that?
The best thing would be to book me, to get in touch with me at my email address, which is on my website, but I'll tell you right now, it's Kerry, and my name is spelled Kerry, at indigotones.com, INDIGO, as in the color, tones.com, and lots and lots and lots of information on my website about the process, and about, you know, there's lots of testimonials which can really speak to it. And I think in somebody else's words, not my words.
Right.
So
and I
feel
will
free.
and I will go back after this is done, and I will post all that information too in this, so you'll have those links, so you can just easily,
Wonderful.
You don't have to go looking for it. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. What was there anything else? No. So email and the website to reach you there. Also, if you're not attending the national pageant and you're watching this and you're like, wait, I need to see Kerry, I need to fly out there and make this investment, they can also reach you through the website for that as well, right? If it's separate from the pageant.
Absolutely. And like I said, I am in the process of updating my website, and within a few weeks there will be like a travel schedule posted that'll be updated on a regular basis.
Perfect.
But you know, if I could if there's a group of people that want me to come to their city, I'll go just about anywhere. If it's just the right timing. So, you know, a group of 10 people, and I would come to you.
Wonderful.
And at any time. So all of those things are options for sure.
Wonderful. I can see this for state pageants. For some of, they'll do like beauty is power seminars and things where there's groups. I can see you being a invaluable asset to all of those. So thank you. And we just had another post. So interesting. Thank you for sharing. And thank you, Colleen, for tuning in and supporting not only Around Town TV, but Indigo Tones, which is our official color analysis sponsor for the United States pageants. So, Kerry, thank you again. This has been just such an awesome experience and such a wealth of information.
Thank you, Carla, and thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope I get to meet you either at the pageant or sometime in the future.
That sounds
Feel free to get in touch with me. I'd love it.
Oh, well, and I'm looking forward to meeting you at Nationals next week as well. And thank you all for tuning in. I'll be going live from Around Town TV, but via the United States National Pageants all next week. So you won't be seeing me doing Around Town TV from here. But then I'll be back with you in about 2 weeks, catching up, because when I fly home from the pageant, I'm going to rest that Tuesday evening. And then I'll catch back up with everybody. But again, thank you for tuning in. My name is Carla Beaurline, along with Kerry Jones from Indigo Tones, the official color analysis for the United States pageants. We'll see you soon, Kerry, and we'll see all of you very soon as well.
Bye.
Bye-bye.